is up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. It's your boy D Dyson. Peacemaker finished. I loved it. I didn't think I would because I kind of don't like John Cena, or I'm just kind of like over John Cena. But he killed it. I liked it. I liked this a lot. And just the last episode, I was like, oh, wow. Wow. You know, so I'm telling myself, opening it up for a lot more adult content is what I'm really here for, especially with DC Universe. But we're going to get over to heavy spoilers for the ending explained from episode 8, the breakdown, the cameos, and then I'll give my review of the whole season. So let's check this out. This is Peacemaker ending explained with heavy spoilers. Let's check this out.
Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul, aka Peacemaker, because I take the piss. Do you see what I'm saying? I take the piss. And this video, we're breaking down the ending of Peacemaker. From the intro to the end, the show has been a blast, and the series went out in style with the Doctor of Thugonomics himself, John Cena, at the helm. Expertly crafted by James Gunn, who followed directly on from the events of Suicide Squad, which released last year. Throughout this video, we're going to be breaking down the entire show, and because of this, there will be heavy spoilers. If you enjoy the video, then please smash the thumbs up button, and also don't forget to subscribe for breakdowns like this every day. With that out of the way, thank you for clicking this. Now let's get into Peacemaker. Okay, so first up, I want to do a quick recap of the series, but if you want to skip ahead to just the ending, then timecodes will be linked below. Now in Suicide Squad, Peacemaker attempted to destroy any evidence of Starro's existence so as to preserve the peace. After killing Rick Flag in a heartbreaking scene, he was taken out by Bloodsport, who's now not the worst dad in the DCEU. I'm talking about you, White Dragon, Mr. T-1000 Year Reich, you dickhead. Now though it seemed like he was killed, the post-credit scene revealed that Peacemaker survived, and the series picked up on the other side of this with the character recovering in hospital. Harcourt and Economos were sent in to watch him by Amanda Waller, and he soon got his first assignment after the Corto Maltese job. Chris was approached by Myrn and the rest of his sub-team, which included Amanda Waller's daughter. Tasked with taking down alien parasites known as the Butterflies, we followed the group as they attempted to stop them. Along the way, we also got introduced to Peacemaker's racist father, the White Dragon, who's basically a white supremacist Iron Man. Early on, things turned south when Peacemaker accidentally slept with a butterfly host, and he wound up having to kill her. The police showed up and they followed him, but after a little help from his friends, Chris managed to get away. To cover things up, Economos stepped in, but he got a little too ahead of himself and he switched Chris's license plate and fingerprints so that they belonged to his dad. Augie was framed, and he was then put in jail over his son. Now on his first proper mission, Peacemaker was sent to take out Roland Goff, a US senator who was suspected of being a butterfly. This was revealed to be true, but Peacemaker got cold feet, and thus his ally Vigilante stepped in order to finish the job. Cold feet? More like missing toes, what? Now during this mission they encountered Judo Master, lover of Cheetos, who's capable of moving his organs about to protect his body part. Now Peacemaker captured Goff and held him captive throughout the series, which eventually led to another uprising that sort of sets up the ending. After another bloody mission involving the Butterflies, the big twist came when we discovered that Myrn was actually one of them. Adebayo worked this out using Peacemaker's X-ray helmet, which is when the truth about the creatures was finally revealed. We discovered that they came from a dying planet in search of a new home, and Goff's butterfly wanted to take over the Earth. Myrn's butterfly basically dissented, and he then took over the worst person he could find, Clemson Myrn. Meanwhile, Detective Song released Peacemaker's father, leading him to want to get revenge on his own son. We eventually learned that Chris and his brother were forced to fight in bare-knuckle boxing matches for their dad's entertainment, which does sort of explain a lot of their relationship. During one of the bouts, Chris accidentally killed his brother, and since then his father has blamed him instead of taking responsibility. He ended up donning his White Dragon armor, and he set out to kill his son, which we'll talk about in just a bit. On the other side of this, the police ended up going after Vigilante and Peacemaker, who managed to escape, but during this time Goff was freed. In the body of Detective Song, it took over the police force, including Waller's plant Locke. He was supposed to help the mission, but he exposed Peacemaker instead, and it led to all eyes on him. Song also killed Myrn and crushed the butterfly, which then mothballed the team's plans. Thank you, I'm here all week. A White Dragon went after him too, but Chris managed to overpower his dad and he killed him, which left just the butterfly threat. During the last episode, the team were able to locate where the butterfly's food source was kept, and they went to take out this cow. The butterflies were attempting to teleport it out, and early on the episode, someone becomes a mission against time to try and track it down. They end up defeating the cow in the end, but we'll talk about that later on in the video. Now in the finale, we meet the Justice League, who arrive in the aftermath of the battle. Aquaman and Flash make major cameos, and alongside them are Superman and Wonder Woman. At the moment, Henry Cavill is pretty much Schrodinger's soups, as we don't know whether he's in or out of the DCEU. There's been a lot of back and forth behind the scenes from what I've heard, and the rumours about things being a stalemate could be true. They do keep him in shadow, however the same thing is done with Wonder Woman, so this may be a case of the show not having the budget to bring the actors in without it spiralling out of control. I can imagine that Soups being in the shadows will annoy a lot of people who want to see Henry Cavill back, and for whatever reason he's kept in the dark as much as we are. Now Aquaman appearing of course plays off a big joke from the first episode, in which Chris said that he fucks fish. The jury is still out, probably better than Amber Turd in the bed though. Now there's also Flash there too, who will of course be appearing in his own solo movie this year. It looks like the film will be based heavily on Flashpoint, and it'll have him going back to save his mother from being murdered. This will create a branch timeline in which Michael Keaton will be Batman instead of Ben Affleck. Interestingly, there's no Batman in the Justice League, and though he did get name dropped earlier in the season, we do know things are a bit up in the air with him too. In addition to Affleck and Keaton appearing in The Flash, we also have Robert Pattinson showing up as the character next month in his own separate universe, so perhaps they just didn't want to get people too confused. On top of this, Cyborg is also missing from the lineup. Ray Fisher very publicly has talked about the harassment and erasure that he had by WB, and yeah, I think they should have included him in this lineup, even if it was in shadow like the others. We know Ray is very much done with the DCEU though, so it's quite complicated over whether they should have included the character without his blessing, and I'd love to hear your opinion on the situation below. I don't want to get too deep into it as I could spend all day talking about it, but the cameos are definitely one of the high points of the episode. Harcourt ends up in hospital paralysed, which somewhat mirrors the way that Chris started off at the beginning of the series. It's quite a bittersweet ending, and yesterday before the finale released, it was announced that John Cena will be back for season 2. James Gunn will once more be behind the show, and we'll theorise what's going on with that later in the video. Now we start off the entry with the group riding out of the cow with the song Steel Panther, If You Really Love Me playing in the background. They approach the camp and assemble the helmets, some of which are named after the rock albums And Justice for All and Sonic Boom by Metallica and Kiss respectively. And Justice for All is Scabies for All, and I love the little Easter eggs laced throughout the show. This isn't really an Easter egg breakdown, but yeah, I thought I'd bring them up because they're pretty niche. Green Arrow is confirmed in the DCEU, and doesn't eagerly approach the base. He ends up dropping one of the helmets in the forest, and when looking for it, Chris comes across a hallucination of his father, which he kills in his imagination. He hits him in the same spot that he did to kill him in real life, and come the end of the entry, his father still clearly haunts him. Now I think that this confirms Robert Patrick will be back for season 2, and that he'll very much be at the character's side taunting him. This is something that the Joker did in Arkham Knight, and it works really well, allowing the Vision to embody all the character's doubts. Though early on he talks about his brother's death, and somewhat comes to terms with him not being guilty over it, it's clear he still resents himself. Since then he's murdered people in the name of peace, but his father appearing once more shows the guilt that he somewhat feels over killing him. I'm not a psychologist yet, but I think that the whole point of Peacemaker is that he finally internalizes his mistakes and tries to learn from them. He's even down to kill his father's Vision, but come the end of the entry he lets that one live, showing that he's likely on the right path to growing as a person and tackling his inner demons. Perhaps he will keep his father around until he's completely dealt with all the trauma he caused, and I think that would be a really interesting way to take season 2. Now Economos manages to sneak into the base using a stolen uniform and a bag with a Sonic Boom helmet in it. He's questioned and acts really weird over it, but he's let in for an unknown reason. I actually think this is because he acts really weirdly, and as butterflies act weird, they think that it's normal. Might be a reach, but we get some more nods to other moments with the character. When seeing the cow he panics and leaves saying no more kaijus. This is a callback to Suicide Squad when he called Starro the Conqueror a kaiju as well. He's also asked about his beard, which is a nod to Peacemaker calling him Diebeard. After admitting his insecurities, Economos is caught and the butterflies start to chase him down. However, the Sonic Boom helmet saves the day with the repeat activation of it slowly destroying the lair. With the charges depleted, the group head into the rubble, leaving Adebayo behind. Peacemaker takes his shield, and when discussing the character, Gunn has often referenced how he's basically a twisted version of Captain America. The poster for the show even looked extremely similar to an old image of Captain America, and it's nice that this is included. After going all out on the butterflies, Chris stumbles inside the lair, but both Harcourt and Vigilante are shot on the outside. Seeing the destruction, Adebayo runs in and shows exactly why she's Amanda Waller's daughter. She saves Harcourt from being taken over and goes after Chris with the torpedo helmet. Trapped under rubble, Goff in the body of Song pulls him out and beats the crap out of him. Goff goes somewhat on a social commentary tangent and says that the butterflies very much recognize the failings of their own planet in our own. There's clear allusions to climate change, the pandemic, and how profit is often put above people. Goff recognizes the good in Chris because of how he cared, and the butterfly says that he can be the peacemaker that he's always wanted to be. Instead though, he activates the human torpedo helmet, which sends Adebayo flying into the cow, killing it in the process. Peacemaker kills Locke and shoots Goff, but he allows the butterfly to live again. Now Peacemaker refusing to destroy lives in the name of peace brings his character full circle, and throughout the season we've seen as he's been filled with regret over his actions in the movie Suicide Squad. The guy knew deep down that he didn't do the right thing, and though he's kept up with his image of bravado, he finally drops it and allows humanity to continue making their own mistakes instead of being enslaved. On the outside he runs into the Justice League and Flash says it, he fucks fish man, ain't a rumour. Now Harcourt and Vigilante are dropped off at the hospital and Adebayo and Chris have a heart-to-heart. In many ways the pair mirror one another and they were of course put on a path by their parents to follow them in their footsteps. Both kind of show that they were more than that and that they can make their own choices, which was reflected in Chris putting an end to Goff's plan. The notes on Operation Butterfly are exposed to the public by Adebayo, along with the truth about Chris and his fake diary. Task Force X is brought to the light, which brings them into the public eye. For years, Task Force X has used criminals on Black Ops missions, and Waller will now have to deal with not only the fallout from her own daughter, but also the public who are now aware of the operations. She returns to her wife, putting her above the job, and Harcourt recovers in the hospital with Chris by her side. Economos returns to Belle Reve as a member of staff, and though he's back behind the desk, he remembers the fun he had with his friends. Judo Master surveys the carnage, and in the woods, Vigilante and Chris have some fun, whilst Harcourt teaches herself to walk again. Now the final scene deals with Goff coming back to Chris, and rather than being placed in a jar, he's now alongside it, showing somewhat inner peace with Peacemaker. Peacemaker is now a peacemaker with the butterflies, and he's joined by a vision of his father once more. We end the season with him laughing, showing that the character might have to come to grips with all that we discussed earlier. It's a great way to close out the season, and I think going forward, Goff might somewhat become an ally to Peacemaker as they tackle more intergalactic threats. With Task Force X now being the public eye, there'll also likely be a debate over whether its existence should be a thing or not. I can actually see there being a for and against argument, and Chris might be brought back into a mission, but I think he'll have more free will at this point rather than being forced to do it. It sends the series out on a high, and the post-credit scene is an extended moment with Vigilante saying to Economos he's worried that he's gonna die. That closes things off and sets up Season 2, which I'll keep you updated on as we get more info. Now as for my thoughts on the series, I have to say I've had an absolute blast with Peacemaker, and it's been my favourite show of the year so far. I think it's done the action, drama and comedy really well, and John Cena has nailed everything in front of him. When they inevitably do a Terminator reboot, I'd love to see him play the robot machine, as I think the guy is built like a brick shithouse, but he's also able to do the friendly and more charismatic things that Arnie pulled off. Don't know why I said robot machine, and we're veering completely off subject there, but I think with him at the helm that the show's really excelled. James Gunn is also extremely talented when it comes to team-ups, and after Guardians, Suicide Squad and this, I can't wait to see what he does next. The guy is a great writer, and I don't really have anything bad to say about how it was paced, directed, or written. Even the intro is so good that it's something you just can't skip, and it's been the show that I'm most excited for every single week. I don't really have anything bad to say, and though it's very juvenile humour, you can probably guess that's right up my street, and for me, Peacemaker was a complete blast from beginning to end. The next DC project coming out is The Batman, and the company has a really solid year by the looks of it. Overall, I'm sure you can guess I love the show, and because of that, it gets a 9 out of 10. I'd of course love to hear your thoughts, so make sure you comment below and let me know. We're running a competition right now and giving away 3 copies of the June box set on the 28th of Feb, and all you have to do to be in with a chance of winning is like the video, make sure you subscribe with notifications on, and drop a comment below with your thoughts on the finale. We pick the comments at random at the end of the month, and the winners of the last one are on screen right now, so if that's you, then message me on Twitter at Heavy Spoilers. If you want something else to watch, then make sure you check out our breakdown of the Doctor Strange trailer, which will be linked on screen right now. We go.
I really like this season. I really like this show. From the intro to how it was crafted to how it was made. I really liked how John Cena really took on so many different parts and so many different elements that we just never really seen John Cena do. And I feel like Peacemaker is just up his alley because it's somewhat an extension of him in real life. So it's more believable and way over the top. And I tell myself he definitely is like a twisted Captain America. I love that reference. And like I said, I also give this a 9 out of 10 because it's something like The Boys on Amazon, but this is the DC version where this is the first DC show where it's pretty much rated R, you know. So that's why I tell myself I'm loving where we're going with this. And even you had Jason Momoa as Aquaman cursing at the end. So that was telling myself I'm liking this. I really, really like it. I really enjoy myself. I was looking forward to Thursdays every week just so I can watch Peacemaker. I really am here for it. So, you guys enjoyed my review and my reaction of Heavy Spoilers Peacemaker Ending Explained Episode 8, cameos and everything that we have missed. Subscribe to my channel, post a comment down below, and like the video. It's your boy, D. Dyson. Peace.